The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel credit, stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Oh, welcome to Beer Nuts show number 72. My name is Chris. JR, not here. This is kind of a rare thing. Has JR ever missed a show?
I was thinking that probably no, never.
I think he's the only one that had 100% perfect attendance.
Until now.
Yes. But Uncle Pete was with us?
Yeah, right here.
Dugout?
Yep, right here. Hello.
Yes, and today, guys, what are we doing?
We're doing wet hopped harvest ale style beers tonight. And we want to invite everybody to join with us. Doesn't matter if you're a beer professional or a beer snob or a novice, newbie to beer. But kick back and pop a beer with us and enjoy the show as we go through harvest ales and wet hopped beers.
Yes, and I can tell you, when we first started, this is one style that you guys turned me on to right away. It was not something that I thought it was. I lumped, when I saw harvest ales, I initially lumped them in with the, shudders for me to say this, with the pumpkin beer crowd. And yeah, you guys instantly taught me, like, nope, don't let it, don't do that.
Don't mix it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. These are their own breed. It's beer that's brewed with hops that are freshly picked. They're right off the vines, so there's no pellets, no drying of any kind. It's just pick and brew. So you definitely get a different type of characteristic in a beer like this.
Yeah, it's important that when you harvest hops for wet hopping, it needs to be kind of quick. I mean, you don't want to hesitate, probably longer than 24 hours before you get those hops into the kettle or into the beer. So Doug, we'll talk about Doug's experience with that. I know he's done some of his own homebrew wet hopped. So we'll talk about that coming up. But do we have a beer quote to get us going tonight?
We do have a beer quote. It is from an anonymous source, but I like their style. It is, today I was a hero. I rescued some beer that was trapped in a bottle.
Ooh,
Here.
Good job, man. Good job.
Yes. I've already been
You're my hero.
Yeah, I've already been a hero once tonight. Probably twice before the end of the show. We will see.
Did I ever tell you that you're my hero?
You just did. All right,
That's awesome. Well, let's all rescue some beers tonight.
I just rescued some right into my face.
Yep.
And I guess I kick it off, so I might as well just jump right into it here. My beer is from it's local, sorta. I mean, it's from the same state. It's a Michigan brewery. It's a brewery that has been on the show many times before. Have we given them their own episode? I forget.
I don't think so.
We've
like 71 episodes
given our
in.
own episode, but we've had them on multiple episodes.
Yes. Dark Horse Brewing from Marshall, Michigan. If I recall, that is exit 110.
There's two Marshall exits. It's like 110 or 111, something like that.
Yeah, because
and then if you miss it heading east, or if you miss it heading west, both of those exits, then you could still exit on 69, take that south, and there's still another exit right there.
That's true. Yeah, we're talking about I-94, the Michigan to Chicago corridor. I've driven it so many times. That's what I'm saying. Marshall, man, I was close because after Marshall, exit 100 was Battle Creek, and then I was almost home when I lived out in Kalamazoo.
Well, when you get off on 69, don't you get close to Climax? Wait.
As you're
exit 69 is Big Beaver on 75. We said Climax is 88. I think
That's right.
88. Yep.
I'm so confused.
What's the beer, right? But it's from Dark Horse Brewing, Marshall, Michigan. 5 High Harvest Ale. It is a collaboration with High Five Hop Farm of Marshall, Michigan. The best I can find about these, they don't even have their own website. They got a Facebook. This High Five Hop Farm. But let's see, the ABV on this, I believe it says it is 6%. Looking for the IBUs because it's not on the website.
I can't find it either.
Oh, might have to go to
Dark Horse.
The ABV on the Dark Horse.
No, the IBU.
Oh, the IBUs. No, I did not see that either.
Maybe we have to go to the
we can't. I was looking for it. I can't find it on the Dark Horse site either.
It's not a full timer, according to their website.
It's a sometimer.
Let's see.
I did find a Facebook post about 5 High Harvest Ale on the Dark Horse Facebook.
Oh, come on. Beer Advocate gives me the ABV. Oh, well. Well, anyways, I can already tell you. I've had some already.
Yeah, I've got IBUs NA on Untapped also.
But giving this thing a sniff, I mean, it's got a sweet, florally aroma, and it should.
Smells green to me.
Yeah, and it's you can't see through it. It's cloudy. It's kind of a lightish. It's somewhere in between dark amber and light brown. Maybe more dark amber. We got a nice little lacing here on the glass. I mean, this is, you know what you're getting with Dark Horse. I mean, this is kind of typical mouthfeel. It's kind of medium-ish to. I want to say it's a little heavy, but crispy, if that makes any sense. But it's, and then you taste it, and it's just, it is all hops in front, hops in back. If you're not a fan of flowers, the floral taste and aroma, this might not be for you. But this is delicious. I've already had a bottle, and we're into the second one here. I mean, this is really good. This might, while this is around, might have to make an appearance on a football Sunday or two. This is good stuff you got here, Dark Horse. Hey, Doug, both of you guys have had it.
Yeah, I think you've got.
Go ahead, Doug.
Oh no, I was just going to say, Uncle Pete, you've got it right there. I've had it this week. I actually bought some for the show, but. Yeah, well, it just got drank, and then I thought, I'll just go to the store and get some more, and they had sold their last 6-pack, and I thought, no, I'm not running around all over town. Oops, that stuff happens sometimes.
Yeah, I'm drinking it right now, and I can tell you that what I found out about it was that I think it came out around the middle of September. Around the 14th, just looking at the Dark Horse's Facebook page, and they had a bottle and draft release of the Harvest Ale, and it's like Chris had said, it's a collaboration with 5 High or High Five Hop Farm, which is right there in Marshall, Michigan, right down the street, about 10 minutes from the brewery, which is important. As I mentioned earlier in the show, you want to get wet hops into the beer as quickly as possible. It says here they used a fragrant blend of super fresh Cascade, Chinook, and Challenger hops. And they went down the street to this farm and personally selected the hops that they were going to put into this batch, and got them back to the brewery right away, and got them into the beer. So, freshness is very important. Just the aroma on this, when I was sniffing it, I do get kind of a grassy aroma, a little bit earthy, and I do get a floral aroma, as Chris had mentioned, but I get a little grass. I don't find it to be actually highly bitter, so I wouldn't say that this is going to be a hugely, high IBU. The bitterness is present, definitely, but I wouldn't guess a number at this point, but I don't think it's going to be on the high end of the scale. Very pleasant flavor, very fresh. I know this bottle I just opened, if it was released on the middle of September, I mean, it's at least, it's about, at least a month old by now. So, I don't know how much effect that might have on it, as long as it was kept, dark in the dark and kept cold and probably maintained most of its freshness. Has a slight haze to it. It's got a great flavor, though. I can just imagine myself, having more than one pint of this beer. Very good. And it's fun. It's fun because it comes around, once a year at harvest time, the end of summer, and as we turn into fall, hops are getting ready to harvest and ready to pick. Doug, I know you're growing some of your own. I've grown some of my own. You gotta make sure you get them before they start turning. What have you seen with your hops, Doug? When are they ready? When do they look ready?
Well, typically the outside leaves of the cone start to brown a little bit and curl up. And that's sort of the telltale sign.
Around the tips, like the tips of the cone?
Yep. They just get a little brown tinge to them, and then that's time to pick them.
And my understanding is it takes quite a bit of hops, wet hops actually, more than hops that have been processed, either dried cones or pelletized cones. It takes a lot more wet hops, fresh cones, to add to the beer actually, than it does the dry hops or the processed hops.
Well, it does, and the loss of liquid from using the wet hops is much greater. So if you're making what you want to have, say you're home brewing and you want to come up with a 5-gallon batch, you've got to compensate for all the liquid that the hops are going to soak up when you're putting them into the pot.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine fresh hop cones probably have quite a bit of water in them already versus, processed. So I'm not disagreeing. All I'm saying is they will absorb some of your kettle, water from your kettle, but I don't know that would it be a significant amount from your experience?
Yeah, actually it is. It's on a 5-gallon batch, I've ended up planning on losing about 1.5 gallons almost from the water absorption of the hops.
Are you able to even extract from all that plant matter? Once it's in your kettle and you're draining your kettle, are you able to squeeze out anything, or is that?
Yeah, you can do that. You can squeeze out as much liquid as you can. Now I've done it three times now. The first time was just throw it in. I didn't know what I was doing, just winging it, and throw the hops in and then drain out the kettle. Well, there's a lot of matter in your kettle there. So when you try to drain it out, it's the kettle keeps getting clogged. So what I did last year was I used muslin bags. I put all these hops into muslin bags, and that was certainly a cleaner way to go. But I don't think I got as much extraction. And with the muslins, I was able to sort of squeeze them out. But, you're talking boiling water. And, it's not like you can put your hand on that and squeeze. So I was just using this flat spoon to kind of press it against the side of the kettle. So this year, I just decided to throw them all in again. And I took one of these big stainless steel fry spoons, slotted with all the holes in it, and just basically fished them all out at flame out, and during the cooling process, and managed to get pretty much almost all of them out, and I had 0 clogs draining out the kettle into the fermenter. So that third time was the charm for me, and that's the way I'm going to stick to it. If anybody else does it different, we'd love to hear your suggestions.
Yeah, it'd be fun to have more conversation about home brewing with wet hops. What are the differences, between adding it early in the boil or late in the boil? What's the difference in flavors that you can get between wet hop and not wet hop? I mean, I got a curious mind. I haven't really done the wet hopping myself. So that's something that's on my bucket list. Okay, well, Dark Horse is good stuff. And what'd you think of it, Doug, when you had it?
I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, now last week you guys were at the Oak, correct?
It was fortunate.
Yeah, I was. I just happened to be up in Traverse City, and I was at one of my favorite beer bars called Seven Monks, and it was Wet Hop Wednesday, and they had 6 different wet hopped harvest ales on draft.
Awesome.
And I would not have put Dark Horse number 1 of what I had there.
Okay.
I think the shout out goes to a small little brewery in Traverse City called the Filling Station. And they had a wet hop ale that was just off the charts, blew me away, better than anything I think I've ever had as far as wet hops go.
I've been there.
What stood out about it?
It was just the color. It was this beautiful bright gold. It was the intensity of the hops. So, what I found, like say with Dark Horse, that the hops are sort of soft and they're really more aromatic than bitter. So if you're judging it on an IPA scale, I'm guessing that the IBUs are very low on that beer, somewhere in the 65 range, and whereas this particular beer was up in the 80s and 85s, and it just had such a beautiful, clean, crisp flavor to it.
Right. No, I agree on your impression of a lower IBU on the Dark Horse. You're right. I like that description. It was a soft hop flavor.
Yeah, it's extremely drinkable, which is why I don't have any tonight. It was too drinkable.
Yeah, I bought a 6, and this is my last one. So I've had 4 or 5 already this week. So
yeah, I had that last one hidden too.
I like that Wet Hop Wednesday. What a theme!
Yep, yeah, it was.
You're lucky,
really.
You're like that on your travels. You're lucky like that.
Well, and I was looking forward to going to there, and I had oral surgery, which is not fun by any man. I had that on Tuesday, so Wednesday I was still a hurting puppy, but that beer sure made things feel better.
Interestingly, like you went to Seven Monks, right? And you said it was Wet Hop Wednesday, and there was a half a dozen beers, I guess, on tap, right?
Right.
But around the stores, when I went around town here in Southeast Michigan, I was almost at a loss for finding more than 2 harvest ales on the shelf right now.
Yeah, I had the exact same thing. And I was even in Northern Ohio, and in Northern Ohio, all I could find was the Founders.
And it's not to say that breweries don't bottle or, package a lot of their harvest ale. A lot of breweries package harvest ale, but it might be that it's, since you want to get it quick at harvest and get it fresh, getting it in the keg and getting it out to the taps might be the better way to go. Maybe they don't do a huge volume enough to package a lot of breweries.
Yeah, I think to make distribution, Founders obviously does. Dark Horse, I can't see that beer having huge amounts of distribution. I mean, you might find a case or two in each store, but probably not a whole lot more than that, and probably not out of the state either.
Right. Well, I mean,
these beers do not shelve well, and even in the fridge, the hops fall off really, really quick. So, the thing with even with a Founders or Dark Horse in particular, as you're saying, that bottle's a month old. You've probably had some fall off already, and then you're dealing with sort of not as much bitterness. So it's just, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It tasted great to me.
Oh yeah, great flavor. Like I said, I get a little bit of grass. I mean, it's green. It has some greenness to it. Is juicy. There's a lingering hop bitterness on my palate, for a long time afterwards. It's not a strong bitterness, but it's desirable. It's mild. So anyway, yeah. I mean, I give Dark Horse a good mark on this one. Would love to have been right there at their tap room in September to have it fresh. But no complaints, at least with the bottle I've got here.
Me neither. So, Uncle Pete, I believe you are up next as far as the beer lineup here.
All righty, sounds good. Keep the ball rolling. I'm going to pop the cap here on a Founders Brewing Harvest Ale. It's a wet hopped ale, and let me pour it up. Very nice, light yellow color, very clear, bright white head. It's very actively carbonated, and the head is holding out for quite some time. Quite a different aroma compared to the Dark Horse 5 High. This was bottled on September 20th, so maybe a week or two after the Dark Horse. So everybody is roughly in the same time frame as far as harvesting goes. It says it's a 7.6% alcohol by volume and 70 IBUs. And it says here on the label, each fall our brew house looks more like a greenhouse as thousands of pounds of wet hop cones arrive within hours of being picked by some of our favorite local hop growers. Acting quickly, we then load up these wet hops into what will become Harvest Ale, an impossibly aromatic and bright IPA bursting with fresh pine, melon, and citrus notes, our ode to the beauty that is the wet American hop. So let me take another look at it, another sniff. Wow, what a difference. This has a much lighter body, lighter mouthfeel, but the hop flavor, and I didn't say really what kind of hops were in it on the label, is much different than the Dark Horse. I get kind of a bready aroma. Not much pine. Just swishing it around. This is a very quaffable beer. I mean, it's hiding the alcohol, 7.6. It's not really a hot beer at all. It's very light bodied. It makes you want to take a couple gulps versus just a sipper. But it's very nice, very clean, very fresh, and I'm glad we're picking up on these. I mean, I would have hated to have missed any of these during this part of the season. So, Doug, did you have this one?
I do have this one. Yeah, I got to agree with everything you said so far. I'm probably guessing maybe some Cascade and Chinook hops in this. Yeah, I don't see them listed at all. But there is and I haven't gotten to the video, there is a video on their website about them actually making the trip to the Yakima Valley of Washington to select the hops that they use in this ale. And apparently they just pick them, put them on a plane, pick them up, and brew with them almost within 24 hours.
Nice.
So that's quite a process. And you think, this beer has some really good distribution. I see this everywhere. So they had to have a lot of hops. And who knows, maybe they put them in a truck or whatever, but that takes a lot of hops to make a beer like this. I get one of favorite things on this beer, besides the lacing on my glass, which it's just perfect, is this creamy mouthfeel to it, almost like a cream ale in a way, but it just got a really nice round feel to it in your mouth, and right before the hops kick over on it. But much more of a bite to this one than the previous one, which, as we said, was sort of along the lines of more floral and less bitter. This one just kind of kicks it up a notch, and I would say less floral and a lot more bitter.
Yeah, I think some of the creaminess in the mouthfeel comes from, it seems finely carbonated. It's not, not big bubbles in the carbonation. It's very fine bubbles in the carbonation. That's what I find when I roll it across my palate.
Yeah, and you can see it on the with the lacing on the glass too. It just sort of hangs on. There's almost a bit of sweetness to it, but not quite. I mean, the sweetness is up front, and then it sort of finishes very dry and crisp.
Yeah, much lighter color, very yellow. Well, very good, very good. Two good beers to have for a celebration of harvest.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is my second 4-pack of this one because the first one got killed also. So this one I knew I could find again.
Yeah, there's plenty of this around. I've seen a lot of this on the shelf.
Well, it doesn't seem like this is a popular style because I was looking.
I think it throws people off. I think you call it a harvest ale and people are thinking Oktoberfest or, something dark or brown or at least, caramel colored. And then they get a beer like this and it's a wet hop beer that's as pale as the moon.
The only two, my beer stores usually, they're pretty good. And these were the only two I found as far as harvest ales. They had the Dark Horse, they had the Founders. That was it.
But I think that's about it as far as what's out there. I was talking to the beer buyer over in Holiday Market in Royal Oak, and he had just mentioned that that's all they had right now. He thinks there's some coming down in the next few weeks. We've already seen a couple come and go. I think Shorts had theirs. They did theirs in kind of late August. So there's no particular timeline other than, harvest time. It could be anywhere from late August to end of October to find them. I don't think it's a glut style where the market gets crashed with them. And as we were saying, this is very intensive, labor-intensive beer to brew. It's quite expensive beer to brew. So I think a lot of breweries are just like, I don't know if I want to get into bottling or canning that. You probably find stuff like that right at your local brew pubs. Better chances of finding it there than, say, in the grocery store shelves.
Right. That's what I was alluding to in the conversation we were having. Maybe some of the bigger brewers have the means and to put it together and get it into packaging and distribute it, but a lot of the other brewers are satisfied to just put it on the taps and have a smaller quantity fresh. This one, I really enjoy that it's lighter. It doesn't have thick malt or thick sweetness, really. It's kind of on the drier side and a very good thirst quencher versus, some IPAs that are hopped up pretty good can be malty sweet and kind of sticky. This one is lighter bodied on the mouthfeel, and to me it's like a quaffer, even though it's a higher alcohol and it's a little sharper on the hops. It doesn't weigh me down. So yeah, enjoying it. Good job, Founders.
Yeah. So Dugout, I believe you're up next in the box.
All right. My beer that I have is called simply V3. V3. It stands for version 3, and it's my third hop harvest ale, or fresh hop harvest ale. This year I used Cascade and Tea Maker hops. Had a really nice harvest on the Tea Makers. Tea Makers sort of go in at the end. They're very, very floral. Not very little to no bitterness in them at all. This is actually a hop you can make tea, and they're actually grown to make tea with. So you get all kind of a smell and flavor without all the bitterness. Now I cheated a little bit. I got to be honest with you. I did I added a little bit of hop oil to it, and just to kick up my bitterness levels to taste. I think the hop, it's the abbreviation of CTZ, so would it be Columbus, Tomahawk, Zeus? That's what's in the bittering in the hop oil. Those are the 3 types of hops. But I started that out right in the boil, and then started to just continuously add Cascade hops all through the boil phase of the brewing, and then towards the end, I added in the Tea Makers. So I had about full 5-gallon bucket and a half of fresh hops that went into this beer. The ABV comes out at about 7.4. And I would imagine the IBUs to be running probably in the 80s, low 80s on this, although I don't have a specific reading, but it's got some, I did dry hop it at the end with Cascade pellets, and then I also had a cryonic hop that I use, and they're called the lupulin hop, and that was Cascade also. So basically, that one has the bitterness removed also. It's all for floral and flavor. So that went into the dry hopping process. The body of it is mainly 2-row, American 2-row. And then I was going to put some wheat in it. But the homebrew store was out of wheat. Everybody's brewing. He told me everybody's coming in. They're brewing hazy beers now. So he can't.
We're not having a wheat
can't even
crisis
keep the bags
like the hop crisis, are we?
Yeah, he is. At least that home brewer was. So I ended up just getting some oats for it, and so it's got a good 2 pounds of oats. You can definitely taste the oats in it. Coloring wise, that leads me to my point from the oats. It's got a kind of yellow haze to it. There's not anything floating in it or anything like that. It just turned out kind of hazy from using the oats. It's got a nice creamy head on it. Still could use maybe 1 or 2 more days carbonation, but it's the head's right there with it, staying on it. It's got a nice bitterness up front, and then it leads to this kind of floral ending of it. It's really different because the oats are importing some flavor as well. So it's not like a typical IPA that I would brew. But you definitely get the fresh, you get the bitterness off the hop oil. And I think it's just really well done, in my opinion.
This your first
taste? Say about it. This is not. The first taste off it, I had let it settle, and I pulled some off of it, and I had a big clump of yeast in that one, and it didn't taste so good. And it's like, oh no, I ruined it, And then I saw that stuff in the bottom. I was like, oh, maybe it'll get better. So I typically pour a pint or 2 through it while it's carbonating to help push the the CO2 into the beer itself, and then I slowly lower the pressure off of it to serving pressure while I'm doing that. It seems to help carbonate it quicker, by doing this, as opposed to some people that have, when they're forced carbonating their beer, they'll roll the keg around, things like that. And there is a little silt in this beer from being what it is, so I prefer not to roll it around and just get that stuff down on the bottom and get it out as fast as possible, so you can start enjoying the beer. It'll probably clear up as I pour down on this keg too. But like I said, overall, it's very well done. I have no not anything that a whole lot of what I would have done different on this one.
Awesome. Do you think that hop oil made a big difference in it?
It makes a huge difference, yes. I've brewed it before just using wet hops only, and it gets there, but it just sort of seems to be lacking a little bit. My hop plants are still fairly young, too, so this being the third year I've harvested, I've got some hop plants that haven't even produced yet, that are 2 years old. I've got other ones that are a year old, and they're going crazy, so hope next year it's something different, because my thoughts on it were to put everything that I harvested into this batch of beer. So I didn't have the highest yield on the Cascades this year. I think that's due to some of the hot weather we had so early on, and a lot of the dryness. So take it year by year. I know we'll be doing this again. Next year will be V4.
Yeah.
So,
did you find you took some of your hops? You said you might have got them maybe a little early, but do you ever get, like, in your cones, like, any riders, like little insects or anything?
Yeah, what I did in the years past, I've seen more of them. In the last 2 years before, this year I picked them the day before, to brew the next day, and I found that by shaking that bucket, you could see some of the spiders coming out and stuff. But I think in the end, you're boiling them for close to an hour, and then you're still straining it out, and that's why I tend to use a little bit of Irish moss in this, and basically what that does is collects proteins in the beer and sort of acts as a clarifying agent. So if any bugs got in there, they would clump into the yeast cake via the Irish moss. So I don't see that as an issue at all.
Yeah, cool. I'm one of these days. It's on my list. I got to do one of these. I know I've heard your stories about, well, not just now this one you've just done, but years prior, I know you've done some others, and I've got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the neighbors come over and little kids, and they're all taking handfuls of hops and throwing them in the pot and just enjoying the day.
Right. Amazing what such a little flower from a vine can do to your beer.
Oh, it makes it delicious. I got to be in the Yakima Valley in August this year, right before the harvest, and it's just
wow!
I told you guys. What would happen if I just pulled over and grabbed a handful? Is there
yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Is there a security system? Is somebody going to jump out and shoot me? What would happen?
Yeah, maybe they have booby traps.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, there are some highways out there.
Yeah, hey Chris, how'd you get that spike through your hand?
I know, right? But there are some highways out there. I swear to God. I was on them last year, too, where you could, it's so close to the side of the road, you could roll down your window, just reach out and grab a handful.
Could you smell it in the air at all? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
like driving through a can of beer.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's quite the sight to see. I'm lucky that I get to see that.
Yeah.
Before I get to go for work.
That's awesome. Dang.
Yeah. One year, but we don't have founders' money. We're grab a plane full of them, fly them back, and start to.
Yeah, exactly. Multiple airplanes full of them.
Yeah. But so, anything else, guys? Or we got anything else we want to share?
Well, I don't know. I was just trying to think. I know we only hit 2 commercial beers tonight and 1 home-brewed beer. I'm just wondering what are some of the other really well-known harvest ales that might be out there from the commercial side And is it strictly limited to, North America, or do our European friends do the harvest ales? I don't know. I mean, I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I mean, I know of a few that are quite good. Doesn't Fatheads do one called Hop Juju?
I love that one. I remember that.
Yeah, just incredible beer. People chase the truck around for that one. And let's think, Trogs does one called Hop Knife. That one's quite...
I think Sierra Nevada does a couple.
I believe you're right.
Internet is telling me Sierra Nevada.
Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere, I think they do two different ones.
Right.
I think one's a wet and one's a dry. I think. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I know
Southern Tier has one.
Oh, okay.
It says Harvest Special Ale, Long Trail Brewing Company, whoever they are. Yeah.
J.W. Lee's.
Yep, your Trogs is listed in this article. Founders. Yep. BJ's Restaurant and Brew House has a Harvest Hefeweizen. I'm going to be in Seattle next week, and I believe we're having dinner at a BJ's Restaurant on Monday.
Oh,
so there we go.
On.
Cool.
Yeah, so they're there. They don't come out on a schedule like pumpkin beers do. It's just you got this long stretch of time, and you just sort of have to know when these beers are hitting the shelves.
Yeah, and it was interesting, Chris. I heard you say you found one that was a Hefeweizen. So maybe, I don't think Harvest Ale, that's not a BJCP style, I don't think, right?
No,
I think
it's
you could
not.
take any style probably and do a Harvest version
and
of
call it a Harvest Ale. Yeah, I'm sure you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're wet hopping it, anything's a Harvest Ale, right?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to about wrap it up. Anything else, Doug?
I'm ready to go to Mexico.
All right. Well, this is the part where I thank everybody who has followed us at Beer Nuts Podcast on Twitter, at Beer Nuts Podcast on Instagram. You can email the show, Beer Nuts Podcast, at ChristopherMedia.net. Thanks for liking people. Thanks for telling. You're sharing. I mean, it's the numbers are pretty obvious that we're back to releasing shows on the regular. So thank you to everybody who's listening. If you just found us, welcome. Now tell a friend. I guess. I guess I'll do this. I don't have the baritone,
low baritone
that JR has.
You can do it.
But I'll say, as they say in old Mexico City,
AMF.
All right.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the name your price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The name your price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Is that Shakespeare?
Nope, it's Geico.
Yeah, that's Shakespeare from one of his unpublished works. Oh, it be not for awakening. Nay, giveth thou the berries. For 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Nope, it's from Geico, because they help save people money.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Geico got it from Shakespeare.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.